Indonesia tanah air beta pusaka abadi dan jaya. Indonesia sejak dulu kala, tetapi puja-puja bangsa. Di sana tempat lahir beta, dibuai dibesarkan bunda, tempat berlindung di hari tua, sampai akhir menutup mata.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So this band is my children's band. The drum is my second son, and then the guitar is my first son, and on the bass, on the keyboard is my youngest son. But now they're old already, though. So thank you very much for singing that with me. The reason why I play this is that now they're getting older, and it's a very interesting moment for us. So again, thank you very much for having me. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Vice rectors, deans, directors, students. An American who had lived in this particular country for more than 25 years had this perceived notion of the people who live in that particular country. This American thinks that the people in that country is not diligent. They don't care about time. They have no future. Another person, an Australian, who has been assigned by his company to advise a particular factory in the same nation, had the same idea. He said that no wonder the people of that nation is paid very low, because they don't care about productivity. They don't think about tomorrow or the future. They just think about today, how to survive. And worse, the factory manager even thinks that there's no hope. There's no way the people of that factory and the nation can change. Can you imagine which country they're talking about? Oh, okay. Our country? Well, it's not too far, yeah? But no, it's not Indonesia. They're referring to the Japanese. But not the Japanese that we know today. But the Japanese that we know 100 years ago. The same Japanese that is now known for the work ethics. The same Japanese that we know are very diligent, hardworking. The same Japanese who are very knowledgeable, who are very smart, innovative, competitive. But what happened in Japan? Actually, they transformed their people, their culture, by opening up their nation. Can you imagine a nation that was perceived to be a nation that has no future 100 years ago? So there is still hope. So today, what I would like to talk to you about is this strategic notion of principles for competing in the digital area. Now, when we talk about the digital age, it's a totally different ballgame. My junior at Harvard University, Nadiem Makarim, thought of this very simple idea of connecting Gojek drivers and Gojek consumers. He invested in the beginning 5 billion rupiah, and now the company is worth 1 billion US dollar. 1 billion US dollar. Can you imagine 5 billion to 1 billion US dollar. Sure, it's not Facebook, it's not Amazon, it's not Twitter yet, but it's a phenomenon in Indonesia. That is what I want to talk to you about. And I'm not going to talk about of the technical thing, because technically there's a lot of information already, knowledge already in your faculties, in your courses, with your teachers, with your lecturers. I want to talk to you about a principle which I call open mind, strong will, and big heart. So I wrote this book called Born or Winning with Passion. And we were all born to win. Can I see hands who are Muslims here? All right, most of us are Muslims. What do our parents, our father mostly, do when actually we were born into this world? Azan. And what does the Azan say? What's the first lafaznya? Okay, so it's actually saying the Allah the Magnificent. And then, what's after that? Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. So it's a knowledge that Allah is the only God that we praise. Ashhadu anna Muhammad Rasulullah, and Rasulullah Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is our prophet. And then hayya ala salat. So an invitation to do salat. What's the next one? Hayya ala salah. So an invitation to get towards glory, towards winners. So from the start of our life, when we go into this world, our fathers actually whispered in our ears, saying that we have to be winners. No saying that, we can be losers. So we were all born to win. We were all made to succeed. So success is a choice, but success was given to us as a mandate by our Father and our God. That's amazing. So if you do not become winners, then it's by choice that you do not become winners. And the thing is, you were born, right? So birth. And then, can you actually, there's no sound. And then death. What's between birth and death? Very good. Choices. So we have choices between birth and death. We will have birth, and then everybody will die. But in between, we have choices. And, of course, when you talk about choices, there are only two ways. Good choice and bad choices. And that's where you actually learn a lot of things. So today, I'm going to talk to you about a concept, but a concept that is not what I call explicit knowledge. It's tacit knowledge. Anybody have heard of tacit knowledge and explicit knowledge? Let me ask you this question. Anybody here know how to ride a bike? Who knows how to ride a bike? Yeah, okay. How did you first learn to ride a bike? Teaching by your father. Oh, so your father gave you a book? He bought you a bicycle and then a manual book to read. No. Anybody was given a manual book by their fathers to read? No. Oh, that's actually like life, right? But that's it. That's tacit knowledge. You don't learn how to ride a bike by reading a manual book. You can, of course, but do you actually get what it's to do it with a book? You have to actually do it. You learn from your falls. You fall and then you get back up. You fall again, you get back up. You hurt yourself. That's the art of riding a bicycle. Like life. Tacit knowledge. That is tacit knowledge. So today, again, it's about discovering inspiration, and it's about making choices and realizing success for you and your family. So, what will I try to inspire you on? Remember the three things? What is it? To develop open mind, strong will, and big heart. Okay, I'll explain to you what I mean by that. So, as I mentioned to you before, we are facing a global competition. We can't think of our enemies as our neighbor, but we have to think about our, not enemies, but people who we have to compete with as everybody in this world, because it's borderless now. There are no borders, especially in the digital age. Now, let's talk about competition, and let's talk about ASEAN, because global is too wide of an array. Let's talk about ASEAN. And Batara mentioned, in a presentation he made at ICME, that there are three things that we are looking at the moment, the trends. One is globalization. Two is urbanization. Three is digitization. So globalization, urbanization, and digitization. Globalization is ASEAN countries are increasingly favored by multinational companies. So we have an advantage in this. There's a blueprint and major global supply chains wind through ASEAN. I'll explain that later. So globalization, urbanization, 8 out of the 10 ASEAN countries have cities in the top 120 cities in the world, including Jakarta, Surabaya, and so on. The other thing is 45% of ASEAN's 600 million people now live in urban areas, in the cities. And more than 50% of Indonesia's 252 million people is under the age of 30. So we have a bonus demography. And digitization. Now, the number of internet users. Now, SMS is not used anymore. People are using WhatsApp, Line, Path, and so on. So digital. People, they don't have to go to the ATMs as much anymore. If they want to buy something, they go online. Nowadays, even they want to find their soulmate, jodoh, they go online. And they lose the human touch. Let's take a look at this Boeing. Anybody know where Boeing is assembled? Cirebon? No. It's in Seattle. Seattle, Washington, in United States. But if you ask where this comes from, can you say that it comes from the US? What do you think? No, right? Because you see, this may be from Kansas, USA, but this is from Sweden. This is from Canada. This is from, the engines come from UK. The center wing box from Japan. This one stabilizer from Italy. This from France, Australia, Korea, and so on. So it's truly a global product, an international product. You can't say that Boeing airplanes are made from the US. Might be assembled in the US, but not made in the US. Because most of the parts are made outside of the US. This iPhone is owned by Apple. Steve Jobs actually thought about this. But if you see, USA only design and think about the technology. The people who produce the iPhones, they are in China, in Sweden, in Japan, in Korea, in Germany, and so on. But how much do Apple get? 64% of what they get. Let's say this is $500. They get about $310. $190 are for the rest of the world. That does the work, the real work. Apple just thinks of the concept. So that's digital era. Why? Because it's possible. Logistics is possible. Nowadays, they are very connected. It's very connected world nowadays. And they don't have to do everything in the States. So please think about how you can actually become part of the internationalization. And let's we have to have some type of nationalism. But how Japan succeeded was because they took that nationalism, they opened up internationally, but they still preserve their local wisdom. They preserve the local culture and adopting the good things from outside. We also have local wisdoms. Most of our people are Muslims. And in Islam, we were taught about a very, very structured way of life. About praying 5 times a day, at least. That means a structured life, that we have to report every so many hours to God. And become a very, very compliance type of person. But then, we are given the flexibility and the freedom to do whatever under the corridor to be successful. After all, we were born as winners, right? We were invited to become winners. So, this is very interesting. Can we do it? I believe so. I believe so. I really believe so. So, this is Winston Churchill. This is a great quote from Winston Churchill. He said that a pessimist sees difficulty in every opportunity, while an optimist sees opportunity in every difficulty. Very small difference, only, swap. There's opportunity, there's difficulty. Now, which one you want to be, that's your choice. I think that it's obvious which one you want to be. You always want to see when there's difficulty, there's opportunity. Because there are people who choose to be pessimists. While they say they're an optimist, when they're posed with problems, they're posed with opportunities, they always say, it's hard. Wow, it's too time consuming. Wow, it doesn't pay a lot of money, and so on. They always see the difficulties. Now, we can change that so that you can actually, every problem that you see, you say, oh, there's opportunity in that problem. Another one that I like is, this is Gary Player. Anybody play golf here? No? Okay. Well, Gary Player is a golfer, and he was asked, Gary, you're so lucky. You hit this ball, and then it goes to the hole just one stroke, one time, hole in one. How come you're so lucky? And this is his answer. Well, the harder I practice, the luckier I get. Very simple concept, but it's really intriguing. Because people say, well, you're lucky because you're just lucky. But he's saying that you're lucky because you try very hard. You practice very hard. And you make yourself lucky. When that opportunity comes, then you actually take the opportunity. So it's not just about luck itself. It's about hard work, hard practice. So, problems are that. So that's what's the first one again? The concept? Open mind. So you have to have an open mind that you are going to succeed. You're going to succeed, and failure is just part of life. And you have to see it as something that you learn from. Okay, second one is strong will. Okay, strong will. Let's play a video for this one. Oh, sorry. I wanna show this first. That's me right there. This is my second son. This is my third son. This is our soccer team. I was the head coach for their soccer team. In the US, you volunteer to be soccer coach. And at that time, my sons, they went into the last team, which is of course, the worst team. And none of the parents wanted to be a coach. You know why? Because they know they're going to lose. They're going to lose, every week. And then the parent who has the job of a coach gets scolded, and they get, everybody gets mad at you. And as an Indonesian who just came to the country in the US, I didn't know that. So I said, wow, I'm chosen as the head coach. Lucky me. And then I don't know how to play soccer, actually. I can play, but I don't know how to play professionally or even amateur. So, when we had the practice, then I said, oh my goodness, what did I get into? They're going to lose. But then, of course, I cannot say that to my sons. And if I didn't take the job, then the team will be dissolved. So, in short, I took the job and then just told them, have fun. And winning is not everything. It is the only thing. Winning is not everything. It is the only thing. Again, if you have a strong will, you'll find the passion, like Steve Jobs said. And let me cite this as well. This is from the book Outliers. Anybody know the book Outliers? Malcolm Gladwell. What is the 10,000 hour rule? Anybody have heard of 10,000 hour rule? Okay, well, 10,000 hour rule was founded by Malcolm Gladwell. He researched successful people, and he found out that those successful people needed around 10,000 hours to master a skill. Michael Jordan, Tiger Woods, Mike Tyson, and so on. So it's not about the age. You can be 20, 15, 10, and so on, 40 years old, and be successful, but it takes around 10,000 hours to master a skill. So deliberate. So if you practice 8 hours a day and you practice 2 hours a day, that's a difference of 4 times. So it depends on how much you're willing to actually allocate your time. So if you talk about one day is 24 hours, 1 week is 168 hours. So it's about 250 weeks if you use 40 hours a week, 5 years. But if you reduce the 40 hours a week of practice, for example, you go to school 40 hours, you study, you go to class, you research and so on, then within 5 years, you can master. You're going to become a master in something. Okay, let's talk about the last one, big heart. I have this mentor. His name is Pa Darmono. He has this slogan. He says, think big, move fast, start small and move fast. So always think big. But the problem with a lot of people is because they think big. They want to start when they are ready. They want to start when things are, situations are ideal. You want to go as an entrepreneur, they say, I have to have some capital first. I have to have a lot of friends first. I have to have a lot of network first. But when will you start? You'll never start. So, although you think big, you start small. The most important thing is you move fast. You move fast, you fail, you get up. Get up, fail again, then get up again, fail again, all these things. 999 times, and you see it as success to fail of, finding out the failure. So Harvard offered me a scholarship, and then I took. My father was already, at that time, he was sick. He had 3 times stroke. So, when I left, of course I wanted to come back when he's alive. But 3 months later, after I left for, 5 months later, after I left for Boston with my family, I had a call, of course, from, my mom, telling me that my father just passed away. That was the hardest thing that the hardest event of my life. But that is the fact of life. Birth, death, challenges, problems, those are facts of life. We all have dreams. We all have targets. We all have passions. And of course, the easiest thing to do for me at that time was to drop everything, go back home,
and then cry out with all my heart, come back to my father, who is already deceased, very close to my father, and then drop everything. Drop school, drop my dreams, and everything. But then I thought about what my father would have said to me, as I grew up with him for more than 40 years. And then I just imagined how he would speak to me on a day-to-day basis. I think he would have said this to me. Jim, for 40 years, we've loved each other. And, and I believe that you have a noble dream. Go pursue your dream and don't fall. And go forward with what you have. Pray for me. So that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will provide the best place for me.